I hope you're all doing well. Lovely weather we've had over the weekend. I've had a great weekend. This is a bit of a heart wrenching live that I want to do today. It needs to be put out there, so I will let you guys know. There could be trigger points with what you're about to see. First and foremost, I want to thank Ladyx for all the hard work and the efforts and his time that he puts into protecting us. I'd also like to thank him once again for the service that he's given, to his country. Cheers, thank you, Ladyx, and I hope you don't mind me using this video. The link for you to jump on, Ladyx, if you're available at any point. I'd love you to jump on at some point during this live, if you're free, because I know you've got a message out there. It needs to be said. So yeah, this what you're about to see, guys, it's heart-gripping, and it's a subject that I hold close to my heart, and there's many hundreds, maybe thousands of people going through or have been through the traumas of what you're about to see now. This lady's endured let's just say major trauma at the hands of men, unsavoury character men that groom children. It's heart-wrenching, this story, guys. So I want to send out big love to Ladyx. I'm going to call her Ladyx to keep her identity hidden. But thank you. You are very courageous in coming forward, and the failings is more to this than anything more than you could see. The failings by authorities, and utmost the people that we pay taxes to protect us. The failings that they've done across the years is bad. But I came across this, and there was no way that I could keep quiet. And this is happening up and down the UK, guys. The way that, whether it's a grooming gang, whether it's individuals with a sadistic mind that they want to groom children. This is only one story of many. I have covered previous down the line another case where Doc got to tell her story, and I interviewed Ladyx subsequently before that as regards to the problem up in Glasgow with the grooming gangs. And Ladyx is nothing but a gentleman. The time and effort that he's gone out of his way to help people found to be in these situations or have gone through, and the help that he gives to these people is, I tell you, is second to none, guys. You know, so this is Alex's way of helping to uncover corruption and failings that these people have had to endure. And he does a grand job about it too. I'll just wait. I'll let a few more people jump on, and then I'll start the video. You know, because there's an astronomical amount of failings, and it's very, very hard for survivors, you know, to speak about these things, let alone have a voice and to be heard, so they can express what they've been through as regards to the failings of these authorities. That they're in power, and you know they're supposed to support and help the people. You know, but the system failings in this country is bad, and it's only going to get worse. You know, unless we do something. You know, so I'm very proud of Alex for every bit of work that he's done to help survivors have a voice. You know, and I'm thankful for Ladyx for confiding in Alex, and you know, to let her have a voice and a platform. You know, because these cases are out there, guys. These cases are real. You know, and they're just brushed under the carpet. Many of them are brushed under the carpet. And what parents go through and what their children go through is traumatic. This blew my mind. When I watched Alex live, it absolutely blew my mind. You know, what you people are about to see. Fucking blew my mind, guys. I'm telling you, I've seen, you know, a bit of stuff as regards to the grooming, because of the Telford grooming games. You know, and what I've seen, what I've heard. This, you know, just it's fucking it'll blow your mind, guys, what you're about to see. So I'll give him another couple of minutes, guys, and Rich Tea Biscuit, good afternoon or evening, sir. Hope you're doing well, mate. Not seen you about for a bit, but I haven't been really on much, but I need to cover this subject that Alex has spent his lifetime to protect and to uncover all of the failings from authorities in serious, dangerous situations that they should have helped, they could have helped, and they could have prevented life. So let me give it a few more minutes, because I really do hope that
all the names have been changed,
and he's managed to get the link to this. You know, because I'd love for, you know, Alex to jump on.
Takes a wee minute to kick in.
But I must warn you guys, you know, he's howling what you're about to listen to, and what Ladyx has had to do as a pair
volumes on
of a child that was groomed, kidnapped, raped, and
115 people
basically left
Thanks for sharing
No,
this,
no,
guys.
no
Try and share it to
fault.
your groups and stuff. So,
Tease.
I'm sitting here with Emma. All the names have been changed.
You know,
We're using aliases
doing what they're
to protect their
supposed to
identities.
do.
That'll be explained during this off the cuff podcast, if that's what you want to call it. Just so you know, I'm sitting with her. Give me your hand. Right? We're going to discuss Emma's case, which is now closed. And she had dropped a message into our inbox, and I received it and read it, and it blew my mind, as I told you last night. I think it's a catastrophic miscarriage of justice. It's one of the most bizarre cases that I've ever heard, and it needs to be known, because if these failings of authority and law and police and everything that is to do with you know, the authoritarian regime that is run in Scotland, if it's with Emma, all the names have been changed. Takes a wee minute to kick in. I'll just make sure that the volume's on. $115 people. Thanks for sharing this, guys. Try and share it to your groups and stuff. So, I'm sitting here with Emma. All the names have been changed. We're using aliases to protect their identities. That'll be explained during this off the cuff podcast, if that's what you want to call it. Just so you know, I'm sitting with her. Give me your hand. Right? We're going to discuss Emma's case, which is now closed. And she had dropped a message into our inbox, and I received it and read it, and it blew my mind, as I told you last night. I think it's a catastrophic miscarriage of justice. It's one of the most bizarre cases that I've ever heard, and it needs to be known, because if these failings of authority and law and police and everything that is to do with you know, the authoritarian regime that is run in Scotland, if it's allowed to continue like this, then no one is ever going to have a voice, and people are continually going to be absolutely misrepresented by authority. That's what this is. Emma doesn't realise the scale of this case. She knows how serious it is, but she actually doesn't see it from my point of view. It's my point of view that's brought her here, because this was not what she was expecting. She didn't expect me to ask her to do this. So, Emma, obviously we're only working off a phone, we don't have a microphone, so I'm going to ask Emma to speak up the best she can. If she gets upset, we'll take a minute out. If she wants to stop at any time, she'll tell me to stop, we'll take a break. And if she wants to end this at any time, we will end it. Because nothing else matters other than protecting their identities and trying to give you an insight into what's going on without absolutely shredding their feelings and their emotions. So I'm not trained in this, I'll try and do the best I can do. So first of all, Emma, let me ask you why you chose to contact me.
Because I've watched the Stings. That's a long time ago. 2009. Technology wasn't the way it was. It was like more brick phones.
Yep.
And texts.
Yep.
But however, teenagers are teenagers.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that it was then or now.
Yep.
Teenagers don't change.
Okay.
They want to fit in.
Okay.
And when I seen you do what you do and bring awareness to the grooming gangs, the traffickers, everything like that, it gave me hope. It gave me, I wish I could have done that. I wish I was strong enough for that. And I didn't mean for you to reach out or anything. It was just to say to you, you know, thank you.
Okay.
It's helped me.
Yeah, that's good. So I'm just going to quickly ask, can everybody hear Emma okay? Can you give me a few quick thumbs ups if you can pick Emma up okay? I need to know that the sound's good, because I've only got my phone. Just waiting to see a few thumbs up here. Is the sound okay? Can you hear Emma more importantly than me? Yep, a lot of thumbs ups, so that's good. Everybody can hear us. There's nearly 800 people in the chat just now. That's going to grow. It's growing by the minute. Take a breather. Right, you're doing great. That's us started. So that's the worst part over. We've started. So you've already climbed over the hurdle. So well done. All right. With Emma, all the names have been changed. Takes a wee minute to kick in. I'll just make sure that the volume's on. $115 people. Thanks for sharing this, guys. Try and share it to your groups and stuff. So, I'm sitting here with Emma. All the names have been changed. We're using aliases to protect their identities. That'll be explained during this off the cuff podcast, if that's what you want to call it. Just so you know, I'm sitting with her. Give me your hand. Right? We're going to discuss Emma's case, which is now closed. And she had dropped a message into her inbox, and I received it and read it, and it blew my mind, as I told you last night. I think it's a catastrophic miscarriage of justice. It's one of the most bizarre cases that I've ever heard, and it needs to be known, because if these failings of authority and law and police and everything that is to do with you know, the authoritarian regime that is ran in Scotland, if it's allowed to continue like this, then no one is ever going to have a voice, and people are continually going to be absolutely misrepresented by authority. That's what this is. Emma doesn't realise the scale of this case. She knows how serious it is, but she actually doesn't see it from my point of view. It's my point of view that's brought her here, because this was not what she was expecting. She didn't expect me to ask her to do this. So, Emma, obviously we're only working off a phone, we don't have a microphone, so I'm going to ask Emma to speak up the best she can. If she gets upset, we'll take a minute out. If she wants to stop at any time, she'll tell me to stop, we'll take a break. And if she wants to end this at any time, we will end it. Because nothing else matters other than protecting their identities and trying to give you an insight into what's going on without absolutely shredding their feelings and their emotions. So I'm not trained in this, I'll try and do the best I can do. So first of all, Emma, let me ask you why you chose to contact me.
Because I've watched the Stings. This is a long time ago, 2009. Technology wasn't the way it was. It was like more brick phones.
Yep.
And texts.
Yep.
But however, teenagers are teenagers.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter that it was then or now.
Yep.
Teenagers don't change.
Okay.
They want to fit in.
Okay.
And when I seen you do what you do and bring awareness to the grooming gangs, the traffickers, everything like that, it gave me hope. It gave me a wish I...
With Emma, all the names have been changed. Takes a wee minute to kick in. I'll just make sure that the minute out. If she wants to stop at any time, she'll tell me to stop, we'll take a break. And if she wants to end this at any time, we will end it. Because nothing else matters other than protecting their identities and trying to give you an insight into what's going on without absolutely shredding their feelings and their emotions. So I'm not trained in this, I'll try and do the best I can do. So first of all, Emma, let me ask you why you chose to contact me.
Because I've watched the Stings. That's a long time ago. 2009. Technology wasn't the way it was. It was like more brick phones.
Yep.
And texts.
Yep.
But however, teenagers are teenagers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that it was then or now.
Yep.
Teenagers don't change.
Okay.
They want to fit in.
Okay.
And when I seen you do what you do and bring awareness to the grooming gangs, the traffickers, everything like that, it gave me hope. It gave me, I wish I could have done that. I wish I was strong enough for that. And I didn't mean for you to reach out or anything. It was just to say to you, you know, thank you.
Okay.
It's helped me.
Yep, that's good. So I'm just going to quickly ask, can everybody hear Emma okay? Can you give me a few quick thumbs ups? Thumb ups if you can pick Emma up okay. I need to know that the sound's good, because I've only got my phone. Just waiting to see a few thumbs up here. Is the sound okay? Can you hear Emma more importantly than me? Yep, a lot of thumbs ups, so that's good. Everybody can hear us. There's nearly 800 people in the chat just now. That's going to grow. It's growing by the minute. Take a breather. Right, you're doing great. That's us started. So that's the worst part over. We've started. So you've already climbed over the hurdle. So well done. Alright?
Thank you.
So Emma sent me a message, guys, and I read it, and I had to take a minute out and then read it again, and it was one of the ones that I have to respond quickly to. Such was the magnitude of the message. It kept me awake all night, and my mind was doing cartwheels with it, because if there's anything in life, if there's anything in society that I despise, it is a miscarriage of justice, or a failed opportunity to incarcerate a predator, a rapist, a murderer, anybody that has taken a liberty with an innocent member of the public. So, Emma's daughter was autistic and required additional support, love, you know, understanding, all of these things. And if you want to tell us, Emma, about the circumstances building up to what we're going to tell people, you know, just talk a little bit about.
To let you understand, years ago,
Yep.
autism was not recognised in
Yep.
girls.
And for the record, guys, our daughter's name, alias, is Megan.
Anyway,
Take your
we
time.
had lots of challenging behaviour when Danielle into puberty, and kicking off in the house. She knew she was different and she wanted to fit in, and she had a few brothers and sisters too, and so my mum, God bless her, she says, "Oh, I think you need a wee bit of help. I think you need to reach out to social work." So right, okay. And me being me and not really knowing anything about social work, it just I was gullible, stupid, naive. Okay, I'll reach out to these people for help. strategies, you know, diagnosis, anything. And basically that's what I did. And we got this woman come into the house, and she was supposed to be a special needs social worker. And she came into the house, and all she could do was look about the house. Oh, I like your house. Who did this? Who did that? Oh, lovely. And she was, oh, how we were bad to Danielle because we didn't let her out on her own. Oh, she needs to get out on her own, you know. Oh, she can go down to the beach. She can do these things. And we were like, she go away with anybody, you know.
Yep.
She looks lovely. She looks, you know, normal.
Just trust anybody.
She loved a laugh. She loved cars. The police used to bring the cars round to her to show them because she used to jump out in front of them, or she could name every registration. I mean, she was lovely.
Yeah.
Loving. Just wanted fun. Just wanted to fit in.
Yep.
Wanted to fit in. And I was like, no, not happening. Oh yeah, you are. So anyway, long story short, she got allowed to go out, be a bit, as she would say, normal. This should be allowed. So anyway, I used to work shifts and things, and it was the holidays. Sorry, I've jumped the gun a wee bit. The social worker would come round, or then it would be a wee worker that was their social worker, but they were going to take Danielle to McDonald's. Now, I'm not being funny or anything, but Danielle was just going to Spain, Cyprus, you know, Longleat, you know. McDonald's was like, I'm going to McDonald's, you know, and she would laugh. So that's really good that you're going to McDonald's, but I'm just trying to say, we were sitting saying, how is this helping?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, so anyway, I had to fight for the diagnosis. I had to fight and do everything. And she was about as much use as a chocolate fire guard, to be honest. Yeah. She was just nosy, as I would say, and like, oh, who did your painting and who done this? And just, I know it sounds silly, and this went on for a wee bit of while, and in between times Danielle was at secondary school and she was getting into trouble at secondary school because she didn't have the concentration. She was very clever. What would take a kid a long time to learn, Danielle could pick it up and memorise it. She had we had a report and basically it staged an encyclopedia memory, which basically helped her a bit further along the line. Excuse me, but anyway, she did start to get a tiny wee bit of freedom. I was working shifts, it was the holidays, and she went to my mum's to have fun. My mum loved her, and she loved my mum. And she was out and about at my mum's. Everybody knew her where we lived. Everybody knew my mum. Everybody knew me. And she basically was going up and down to the wee shop, and my mum could see through the window when she walked down to the shop and could see her coming back up. And she loved to play trap door, run away, things like that. She's just full of mischief, wanted a laugh. And unbeknown to my mum, she had went to the shop this morning and she had bumped into a man, and it was a man. And
she was, for the record, how old?
14.
She was 14,
She looked to be 8.
So, she was 14, guys. Megan was 14 when this incident happened in an area of Glasgow. And let's hear what happened next. When she met a man.
She had a mobile phone and they swapped numbers, and through that whole day it turned out, unbeknown to anybody, she was in the end room, in the bedroom. Her younger sister, who was how shall I put this, a wee bit more mature than her.
Yep.
Was watching her what was happening, etc, etc. Kind of a cottoned on, she was acting a wee bit dodgy, shady, her words were shady. And basically she, let me get this right in my head, had been texting him and he'd been texting her. Technology wasn't like the way it was just now.
Yeah, it was all text.
There was no chat rooms, things like that. There was no that you could, a woman or a man or a parent, could, you know, check on it or anything. To be honest with you, I learned a lot as well.
So by her being out, playing around with pals, she was met by a man who started grooming her, who obtained her mobile phone number.
And was texting her all day. And I never seen the texts, but apparently they were quite sexual.
You weren't allowed to see the texts, that's what happened. Yep.
Anyway, I was home by this time. It was about 6 o'clock at night, and I got a phone call from my mum. She went, Danielle's away, she's gone in a car. What did I do? Phone police. Phone me for phone police. And I screamed. I remember screaming and I was like, so my other girl came on, and I was like, what happened? She went, Mum, I couldn't get to stop, you know, like he was like in the car, and she went, and I'm shouting, you can't go in the car, but no, she went. So we knew that she had gone, we knew that she was vulnerable. Everybody, that was the alarm was set. I lived a wee bit away. I wasn't allowed to come to my mum. I had to stay where I was. That was the orders that were given.
By the police?
Aye. And everybody was up my arms. Everybody was searching. My sons, everybody, it was just, couldn't believe it. My nightmare, like my fear had happened.
Yeah.
And so my mum, the police never came near me. I just get told I hadn't to go near there, and they came to my mum. Anyway, then everybody was searching. They gave out her photograph to taxi drivers in the area. They were like, well, where does she know? She doesn't know anywhere. Yep. Well, I thought she knew the area. Yes, she does know the area, but she's never been allowed. She's never been allowed out and on. You know, we don't allow this. She's vulnerable, but she doesn't look vulnerable. She presents well. It's not until you're actually having a conversation for a while.
I'm going to interject here. I need to draw you to something you said last night. We're talking about the way that Megan looked. I've seen a photograph of her. I've just been presented with a photograph of her, and she's a visually beautiful girl. She was a stunning child, absolutely beautiful, picture perfect. And you said something last night that was one of the most profoundly tragic things I've ever heard a human being say. You said to me that her beauty killed her.
Yeah.
And I understand what you meant by that. I don't have a daughter, I have 2 sons, but I understand what you meant. And it's tragic to hear somebody say that a child's natural beauty was the cause of her life to end. Talk to me about that. Talk to me. Tell us again what you said last night.
I don't want to offend anybody.
You're not going to offend. Do you want me to say it?
No, I'll say it, but I really don't mean it in a bad way.
Yep. People will understand.
I used to say, because of the way Danielle would, the way that she was beautiful.
Yeah.
innocent, loving. Well, she could be nasty as well, believe you me. But she just wanted to fit in. Anyway, it was when you spoke to her maybe for about 10 minutes, you would realise people would say, oh, she's no right.
Yeah.
And I'd say, yeah, that's right. We'll get it sorted, sort of thing. And I used to say to people, not people, family, like our sisters and brothers and that, if you ever, if she had been born Down syndrome and looked like a Down syndrome, the predators wouldn't have predated her on her the way that they did.
Okay. What Emma's saying here is that she was such a beautiful child that she believes that her beauty cost her life because she was targeted by men, and when she was a young girl at 12, 13, 14, adult men were ogling her in the street, in the pavement, because she was a beautiful girl. And I've seen a photograph of her and she's a beautiful girl. She was just a gorgeous wee face, you know, and I understand it. So that's why she was pursued, possibly by this male. And you said that had she been visibly disabled, this man may not have given her a second glance.
Yeah.
On you go.
She just went into puberty. She was a young teenage girl developing, but
Yeah.
she was really, you could have classed her for 10. Anyway.
She looked very, very young.
And anyway, I had to stay where I was. People were out searching, but my mum wanted my other with me. There was too many people coming in and going, and she was upset. She was fraught. She had seen her sister being taken, and she was wanting her mum. So her brother had to go and get her, and that's exactly what he did. He went to get her, and on the way home, near the motorway, near Hamilton Park, the mausoleum place, out on the motorway, she was walking up, was Danielle was walking, and she would obviously been assaulted.
Walking along the motorway?
Yeah. Now, rightly or wrongly, my son at the time, he did get into trouble for it, they said he should have put her in a car and went straight back to my mum's. He didn't. He put her in the car and came straight home.
Yeah.
Because he said she needed her mum. He didn't care. He didn't need strangers. She wanted her mum. So she came in, and that was it. Her whole life was just turned upside down. Not that night, but the next day. We had detectives, everybody, you could name them, social worker, who was just there to be seen. That's how I felt.
And at what point were you made aware of what had happened?
She went upstairs into her room, and I knew, went in, and she told me, and she just was so upset and just didn't get it. He'd hurt her, he had tied her up with a mobile phone, what do you call these things?
Earphones. So guys, what occurred was Megan was abducted by a man, taken to Hamilton Palace and brutally raped. In the most horrific manner. She was tied up with her earphones, and the earphones were lying on the spot where it happened.
Now, Danielle, sorry, Megan. Sorry everybody.
It's okay, don't worry about it.
She can get over it. She just slept with me that night. I had the sense not to wash her, not to nothing, to everything. All these people came. I got a phone call saying these specialist people were coming, but they wouldn't be there in the morning. And I thought, fine. So obviously we took her clothes and everything, but we didn't. She didn't have a bath, didn't have anything. The next morning, you can imagine everybody came.
Yeah.
And questions in the room, out the room, you know, all that, trying to hurry it up for you. And basically, I'm trying to articulate this, the normal what would happen in those situations. Right, to take her along to the hospital because obviously she had to be checked, and unfortunately due to my job and things I wasn't allowed to go into the hospital in case the defence used it.
So a 14-year-old child's brutalised by an adult male and her mum's not allowed to be with her?
No.
Okay.
But nobody wanted to know who this wee girl was, and obviously if they'd seen me they would have known exactly who she was, and the defence could have used it. That was what they said, could have used it to their advantage. They could have turned around and said results were tampered with, anything.
Even though the DNA was there? Even though the man was caught?
Aye.
Even though...
At that time he wasn't, though.
Even though Megan could memorise the inside of his vehicle photographically due to her autism and literally describe it to the detectives.
Everything. And we knew that we were then heading back to, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. Sorry.
Just write it down. Your address?
No.
It was a police station in the area you were heading back to. That's fine, yep.
And while we were travelling back, my mum obviously answered the door, and there was a whole load of people questioning her, detectives and things. I'll never forget it when my mum says, it's quite funny, my mammy, even when, you know, the Glasgow bit, you know, she was just like, how the hell do you go undercover? You're 6'7". You're a woman. Do you know, but I mean, she was just trying to, it was her nerves, but that stuck with Danielle as well. She said the exact same thing when she met her. But we went way back, and Danielle... Megan. I'm so sorry, everybody, okay. I'm so nervous. I had to, I don't care. Okay.
Take a minute, have a wee drink.
We went there, through to where it had happened. She had to show them, well, she could show them everything. She could tell absolutely everything that was in that vehicle, everything.
And she described this man?
The car, make, everything. His name, etc. And that night, we were there, and again, that big tall policewoman, or detective, Megan was sitting in the back of the car, and she was sitting laughing. It gave her a wee laugh, look at her, you know, just how tall and everything she was. And they said the same, how can she go undercover, how can she be detective? I know it sounds silly, but that's what she was like that day. Anyway, so sad. Then we went home. I'll tell you what, the police were on it, like, they were amazing. I can't fault the police.
So at this stage it wasn't the police that failed, it was the system that failed?
CPS.
The CPS
I got a phone call on a Saturday morning. So this all happened on the Thursday night. We went through on the Friday. Saturday morning, the man was raided in his house. He had a 3-year-old daughter of his own as well. and he was a businessman, had his own business, and that's all really that we got told, and we were told that they had him in custody. And I remember some policeman will tell him, I want to kill him, tell him, I just want to kill him.
So at that point you were told by the police that they had the right man? Okay.
They got him, and they were in for questioning, and this man, what they did say well is that she told him she was 25, and I went 25, have you seen her? And he was like, well, yeah, I have, and I haven't seen her, but my colleagues have, and they tell me she looks more like 10.
Yeah, she looked blatantly like a child at this age, like a real young child. She could have passed for 9 or 10. There was no mistaking that she wasn't 25.
And so we had all of that. It was going up to court and everything on the Monday, and just about 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon, social work was in again. Oh, I'm just in to check up, yeah. Honestly, how could I have been so gullible? And basically the police came, detectives came, my big boy, my boys were and good people, and we all get cautioned that if anything happened to this man, his family, anything, well, we don't even know who he is, but if you turn up at court, it's a closed court. Well, what's that closed court for? No, it's a closed court.
Protected.
And we can't stand outside. We basically get cautioned that we were going to be in serious trouble. So you can imagine what big brothers are like, and everybody was just distraught. Everybody just couldn't believe it. Neighbours couldn't believe it. My mum's neighbours couldn't believe it. Even the taxi drivers couldn't believe it.
Yep.
And anyway, you have to wait and process, like you'll say, and we had to go in a wee while later, getting back on your feet and everything. Obviously they had the clothes and everything as well, and so we went for interviews at CPS in Hamilton.
Yep.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that. Anyway, we went there anyway, and I was angry. I wasn't allowed in with her. When she was being interviewed, my cousin went in with her. I wasn't allowed in with her because I was a separate witness. This is what they said. Well, I'm getting angrier and angrier and everything else. So, cut a long story short, a wee while later, a few weeks later, got a phone call to say that all charges were dropped, that it wasn't going ahead because she wasn't credible.
So guys, Emma was informed within a matter of weeks that there would be no further action because of Megan's disability, which was autism. She was classed as a non-credible witness. So I have to say just now, as parents of any children with any additional support needs at all, should, God forbid, anything ever happen to your child, they will be classed as a non-credible witness under current Scottish law. That's my understanding of it. This child was brutalised by a man who was caught red-handed and released with no further action due to her birth disability or vulnerability through no fault of her own. You can't choose the hand you're dealt in life. Now it gets a lot worse. You okay?
Aye. I don't know what else to say.
You're doing well.
Danielle, sorry, I absolutely. She
Take your time, you're fine.
She got hyper anxiety. Didn't want to be on her own. She already had good hearing, audiogenic hearing. However, she began to hear voices. and things, and would get really upset. And she was just, it was so sad. So sad to see.
How quickly after the incident did this start to materialise?
Happened on the Thursday and the first Tuesday
She
after.
just rapidly went downhill.
Fear, anxiety, everything. And I was so angry. It was social work because she had, she came in and I was just giving one every year, and I was just like, get out, you done this, you freedom, look at freedom. She's never had anything, protected. We loved her, looked after her. Yes, she'd get into trouble, yes, she'd challenging behaviour, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. We didn't even want to give her a phone. Oh, give her a phone, do you know what I mean? And it's just like, the anger that was in me was just, and then with us being cautioned as well, and I was just like a volcano. I just wanted to kill everybody, and her especially. And she knew it. Oh, she knew it. And I was like, I'm going to get you into trouble. I am writing such a letter of complaint. You don't know nothing. You were more interested in who done my kitchen, who done my bathroom, how much money I was earning, and blah, blah, blah. Just a horrible, horrible individual. And I was like, get out of my house, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. And anyway, so the next thing, within the week, there was her and this other man coming in, and they basically said to me that they had concerns about the safety of my children, that I had beat them up with belts and what do you call that, golf clubs. I said, golf clubs? I've not even got plastic golf clubs in here, I might beat them up. Well, get a grip. But they were like, you have to voluntarily give them up, and if you don't voluntarily give them up, we'll take them to court and it'll take you longer to get them back and all the rest of it. And they just hoodwinked me, and I was right at a lawyer right away. And they were like, So nobody could handle Megan. They couldn't handle her because she wanted me, and they didn't just take her, they split the girls up. And not only did they split them up, they put Megan away up north. And it was like, wow. And she was on the phone constantly. She wanted me, she wanted back, they missed her counselling sessions. The social work forgot that she had to go to counselling. It was just chaotic. It was just
So chaos. After such a traumatic incident, when a child should be with their family, the social work used the full weight of the law to separate your children from you.
Yeah. My sick girl. And obviously I could no longer work. I lost my house.
You lost your home through it?
I lost my home. I lost my car.
And you were in a very well paid job?
Yeah. But they care about that. And then just my mum was like, she could believe it. And then, every time this social worker phoned me, it was a different story. And my mum was old school, but and she was like, see, next time her comes on that, you record it. You record her. I've never heard as much lies in my whole life. I don't know what I'll do with them. And then it just snowballed. And it snowballed to the point where I didn't even know whether I was coming or I was going or I was lying, and I didn't know what to do anymore. Nobody would believe me, and they actually told Megan that I didn't want her. They actually told her that.
And how long did this go on for?
I had her back within the week. Okay. And it was because of the social workers blatant lies, and she just went right and she went, "You lied, my mum does want me," because she phoned me on my mobile when I was actually in the lawyer's office, and the lawyer actually spoke to her and she says, "Do you want to come home? Nobody can stop you. You want to come home? You come home. Right, we'll be along to pick you up." And she went, "Oh, I've got a meeting in the social work department at such and such."
So there's another part of the outcome of this assault.
I need to be very careful what I say.
You do. So think about it, and if you don't want to say it, then we'll move on. But once it's said, it can't be unsaid, Emma.
I think she should know before anybody else.
That's perfectly fine. So guys, there is a catastrophic element to this case, which, with all respect, Emma's getting itchy feet about verbalising, which I completely understand, because it is so hard to believe. Now, that might mean that we need to do another part of this. What do you think? Because it's literally mind-boggling what happened with this case. The outcome of that assault with this child. If you don't feel like doing this and saying what are you saying?
I just feel that there was lots of lies, lots of surprises, and I have a granddaughter now. And she's wonderful, and she's perfect, and she is a mother's image.
I don't know if he's heard that, guys. I don't know if he's can put two and two together and what's been said here. Do you want to take a breather?
No. I got her back really that Friday. I couldn't get my other daughter back. I never got her back. So I did when she turned 16. And by that time I'd been picked up on a lot of inaccuracies, they called it. We don't call it lies, we call it inaccuracies. And it was just unbelievable what they did. And I had moved by that time for a fresh start down south. And Megan had to get a mother and baby placement, things like that, and to prove that she could look after the baby. But unfortunately, postnatal depression and psychosis and schizophrenia, she didn't lose her baby. I have to emphasise that. She actually said to me, "I can't do this." I'm going, "You have to do it. I can't do this. Bring her up for me." And we all had a kind of a reconciliation social workers were changed because there was a lot of lies told in reports, and English, that social worker actually said that I had a really bad relationship with my other daughter, and that she had witnessed all of these altercations on the phone, and that she got this report for another court hearing from the reporter in England saying all this had happened. And the day before that, the child panel hearing was on the Monday, and on the Thursday, the little one was on child protection because of child having children and obviously vulnerability. And at that time, she was only in foster care about 6 weeks, and she was back with me with the baby. And I've lost my train of thought there, sorry.
It's okay.
Back. Basically, I phoned up, I'd said to this, have you done a report? Because she always did reports for them. And she said, no, they've not even asked me for a report, isn't that strange? And we had that conversation, and the next day the report from Scotland literally fell in the post, you know what I mean, on the floor. Picked it up, and there was all this, and the English social worker's name was on it. They'd said that she'd said this, she'd said that. I was raging, I'm right on the phone. Lies, tell me lies, blah, blah, blah. And they're going, oh, we don't know what you're talking about. And she was already in court. And the lady actually phoned me and she said to me, look, I believe you. I need to see it. Can I possibly, on the way back through court, come in and just see it? I do believe you. The woman came in, she just kind of looked at it and she went, put your kettle on. She sat down, she went, I'm going to phone them right now. I never done this. I did not do this report. I have not said these things, I can assure you. And the lady then was told by the panel, the child panel, yeah, you need to do protocol, you need to go into the social work department and you need to do the correct way of doing things. Anyway, long story short, she told them that basically this hadn't happened and it all fell away, but my daughter was settled up there and she didn't want to come to England, so that was that. And I respected that. There was no further action on anything. I hadn't done anything. Nothing. And unfortunately Megan's health deteriorated really badly.
Yep.
Schizophrenia, voices.
And her self-harming was really extreme.
Not at that point.
Was it not at that point?
There was nothing. She said she wanted to go back. No, there was people floating about outside, men, and we had to inform the police. I have the police. If you had ever seen a woman, I mean, I don't know how, it was a big fancy car. It was, I don't want to be racist to that, but men of colour.
Yep.
And they were wanting her, and she said that they kept annoying her at the park. But we'd never seen that because we'd to give her a wee bit of room, but we had never seen that, so it was like we her meant, was that true? Was it not true? And then it was all quiet, and I'll never forget the social worker saying to me, we think it might be in our best interest that she goes to live with her relatives in Scotland, but you can't take Sophia. She can't go. And if you go with her, baby stays here. And there's going to be I'll never forget it, buy one get one free situation.
And you believe that she was being targeted by men, don't you?
I know that for a fact because
and you also believe that her sister was being targeted by the same men?
sister came down after just for a holiday. She was basically, what happened, I'll be honest with you, is they basically said to her, well, your sister's down there and we're having to pay for you up here. They wanted to pass her down to social work in England so that England could pay for her, and England went, no, you done it. You're paying for it. No. And that's true. And then I had kicked up, put complaints in, everything that happened round about that. All of a sudden I got a phone call from a new social worker. It's under the best circumstances, you don't get on, there's no way forward, you got a new social worker. So I don't even know, do you know what I mean? I know that social worker is now in Australia. It caused all the grief and the lies and the corruption.
Yeah, and just for the sake of the video, I've got Megan's death certificate in my hand, and I've got paperwork from the FISCO, from the Scottish Fatalities Investigation Unit, the SFIU, and I need to hide the serial number. There's nothing there that anyone can identify this on, but I've seen these documents and I've read them, and these documents are all legitimate. This is nothing I've not seen before, and it's absolutely mind-boggling. So let's get to the kind of peak of the story, the pinnacle of the story, which was the culmination of events, everything that led up to Megan's demise.
The Voices, social work, vulnerable adult, waiting in, is it Blue Triangle or something, waiting to be housed, assessed, sectioned, not sectioned. It was just catalogue of constant in and out of hospital, boyfriends which were undesirables, on the drugs, no taking the drugs, as in prescribed drugs. Then it was street Valium to dampen out everything as well. She cut, really cut. I don't mean, we've done a wee cuts. I'm talking about she cut her arm, nearly cut her arm off one day, and she was resuscitated. And when she woke up, she actually said, do you know the courage it took for me to do that, and yous have brought me back? I don't want to be. I can't live like this any longer. Everybody's better off without me. She hated herself. Paranoia is nothing like I've never seen in my life. And then she didn't want to see anybody. I was just so sad. And I got a call 2020, and it was my daughter saying, I think you need to come up. I said, I'm not going to get permission to come up. And she said, I think if you don't come up, you're never going to see her again, and the wee Ian's not going to see her mum. And I flew up the next day without, and the hospital let her out, and we met up in my Tesco's Extra, and I was so sad. She was just there, and she was just so sad. She'd been used, abused, and they allowed it to happen. Social work allowed it to happen. They could look after her. They could look after her better than me. And
left to her own devices, extremely fragile.
Yeah.
Very vulnerable.
And it was just, and she couldn't cope, and I knew that the voices and everything were annoying her, I could tell, but she was all over her wee girl, and just loved her. And I mean, like in her wee girl's 5th birthday, She sent, I could show you a picture of a big birthday cake, and it was frozen. It was like a wedding cake. And she had a big party in the school hall. Nobody's going to think that she's not loved. This was the things that would go through her wee head.
Yeah.
She's going to have everything. I've got my pip. She's going to have this, she's going to have that. The amount of men that used her for her money. It was just so sad. And I was on the phone all the time, fighting with social workers, talking to social workers. She's fine, she's fine. I phoned up one time because she had a big machete and she had got her house all searched. It was on the windowsill, in plain sight, never even seen it. And she just it was COVID came in just after that, and we were all in our bubbles down here. I don't know what it was like up there. And it was only a few weeks into the COVID carry on. And the children down here at that point weren't allowed, if you could not have them in the shops, they didn't want it.
Yeah.
So I put Sophia into my friend, go and get my shot on. I was going round about Aldi and I got a phone call on the Thursday morning, about back in 9, 9:45, telling me that my daughter was dead. And I don't know who it was. The person on the other side was out their face. I could hardly go, what? I know it sounds really silly, but I still had to get my shot on. I didn't know if it was true, I didn't know nothing. And so I got all the stuff. And I come back up and I walked into my best friend's house and I said, she's dead. I've just had a phone call.
Yeah.
And she's going, no. And she's just... So of course we were on the phone to everybody and nah. And I left my friend's house and I was not on the road and I didn't know what to think, and I'm phoning everybody, but of course COVID, there's nobody in, there's nobody doing this, there's nobody doing that. And anyway, I had to keep a strong face, but before I left I said to my best friend, I'll phone you tomorrow morning, you're gonna know what it is. And they go, you'll be fine. And through the night my phone kept buzzing, but I knew and I couldn't pick it up. I knew. I waited till the morning because I just didn't want to be like that. And then it was, these were all these voicemails that she was gone, she was dead. Not one policeman, not one social worker, nothing. It was all these different hangers-on, as I like to call them. She was gone, she was dead. And
her death certificate is questionable at best, isn't it?
Still don't know how she... Well...
So guys, for the purpose of the record, her death was put down as a COVID-related death, but that was not the case. I've seen enough and I can't say it. It was not a COVID-related death.
And I've been asking for answers and nothing. Even for the, what was it you said, the freedom of information?
Subject access requests.
As a minor, you don't get that anyway.
Yep, that's right.
And when you're dead, it's sealed. And
this case is just
I phoned police up. Nobody had been in touch with me. And first of all, I was told that the room was in such a mess, and I was just wanting to know, had she self-harmed so bad again that, you know, did she cut her arm off again? We'll get somebody to phone you back. And then they never did. I'd try and chase them up again. And then finally, I was actually in my best friend's house, and he phoned again, and I was just like, well, nobody's been in touch with me, nobody's told me anything. And he went, listen, I knew her well. He says, I knew her well. He says, what a lassie. He said, no, she slept away. And for me to hear that she just went to sleep and died peacefully was bittersweet. Her whole death bittersweet, because nobody can hurt her anymore. She's at peace. Nobody can use her, abuse her, make her self-worth like a piece of nothing. She was everything. Everything and more. She was loved. And she was just too good for this world. And her legacy is in her daughter, who is absolutely stunning as well, and no autism, thank God. And that's her mum's legacy. And I then got a letter in from CPS saying that they had closed the investigation, which is there. And I phoned them, I went, what investigation? There hasn't been an investigation, this is lies. Oh, really? Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's been no detective spoke to me, spoke to anybody. They've not spoke to any of the witnesses. Well, how do you know that? Because you know where I was. And I was just like, because we speak, we talk, and he hasn't done his job. I'm sorry. So no, you can't close it. So and I gave some facts, details, names. Obviously, I can't say them. And the very next day, that same detective phoned again, and he was like, "How do you know I've no spoke?" I went, "Because I speak to them, and you've no spoke to them. So why are you saying that you have? Why?" Right, okay, who is it? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, 3 weeks later I got a letter in saying no further evidence, no further action, closed. And I hate technology, I hate everything about it, I hate the grooming. Social workers know exactly how these kids that have been in care or they've been taken away, anything like that, they know there's sex trafficking, they know there's gangs, they know they're vulnerable, and they know that they live chaotic lives, and they take them away from parents, and when they're 18 they throw them out to the street into bad areas where they are going to be groomed, where they're vulnerable, where they haven't been taught the life skills to cope. And Danielle was a vulnerable adult on a vulnerable adult register and had social work. Yes, she engaged, sometimes she didn't. I'm not blaming, them, because if Danielle didn't want to talk to you, sorry, I'm saying her name, if she didn't want to talk to you, she wouldn't talk to you.
But the fundamental part of this story is that there is absolute proof exists of who attacked Megan.
Yeah.
Without putting too fine a point on it, guys, there is absolute, irrefutable, 100% DNA evidence of who this man is. It cannot be denied, and he's out there walking the streets today, and nobody knows who he is, and he's from Glasgow. Now, I'm going to draw you back to 1993, to the Amanda Duffy case, same area. Amanda Duffy was brutalised in the most sadistic way, her life taken on a night out with friends by a man called Francis Auld, who walked on a not proven verdict and lived out his days in Blackpool as a free man. I'm not saying it's the same man, don't make that link, it's definitely not the same man. There's two catastrophic failings on the part of Police Scotland and the Scottish legal system, which are undeniable proof that the system is unfit for purpose. There is 100% evidence of who kidnapped Megan, who took her to Hamilton Palace, who brutally raped her. The evidence exists. It's not for any debate, but there was no further action taken.
It was me who took the action on me.
To me, that's absolutely mind-boggling.
They deflected on me. To shut me up.
You get condemned by the services. They ganged up on you because of what you were pressing for. And they let a child rapist walk off into the sunset as a free man. His details will be recorded on the ACRO Criminal Records database, and his no further action for that charge will be recorded on that database. Now, we're all these years down the line. Danielle's lost her life, and there is proof for a conviction. There is absolute proof, but the police will not do anything with it. They're not interested in taking it forward.
It was the CPS, it wasn't the police.
Yes, the CPS.
I found the police to be, I can't say anything bad at that time.
But they can represent the evidence, and the evidence exists.
But it's sealed and will never be opened.
And that's why we're doing this, because we're trying to bring the system down. We're trying to bring down a system that is not fit for purpose. Like the Bonner family in Glasgow, they're being told nothing.
God bless her.
They're being told nothing. The system is unfit for purpose. There is a child rapist walking the street, one of thousands, and he's a free man, and nobody knows who he is. Guys, Emma, being Megan's mum, was never told who this man was. She was told by the authorities that she was not entitled to that evidence. She wasn't entitled to know who kidnapped and brutalised her daughter. That is not a system that should be in place in the modern era, in the millennium. That is not a system that's fit for purpose. You cannot be protecting these people, but time and time again it looks like the system is protecting these people. It's the only way us, as the non-legally trained members of public, can interpret it. There's no other way to interpret the outcome of that case.
I spoke to Mandy McGurk a few months last year, and she wanted to blow it up too, and I just didn't have the courage, because I couldn't bear to lose anything else,
Yep.
or if somebody else be hurt through anything. And I don't even know if I'll be hurt again through saying all this tonight, but people need to know that there's bad people out there on the good side as well that's supposed to help.
You feel like the social services failed astronomically. From what I've seen, they failed even worse than that. It's diabolical, the level of failure on their part.
I hide.
Emma's hiding. Literally, we're in one of the most remote areas in England, and for good reason, because she still believes that there is a threat to your safety and there's a threat to a child's safety. A child that I met when I got here. I can't believe that this is allowed to occur in Britain in 2024. I can't believe that people are living in this level of fear. That somebody or an authority can still come after them and remove their children from their care. Only because they're asking for things to be looked into, or they're unhappy with the outcome of the original case, and they're basically being told, mind your own business or we'll come and we'll take that child from you. That child that is the only thing left of her mum.
I've not had that said to me.
But that's what it is. That's what they're doing.
I know, but I need to be truthful and honest, because if somebody blows up a lie, they'll not believe the rest of it.
I know that, but you've already said to me that you're living in fear of them.
No, I'm not saying that. I am.
And without
my whole life.
Without over like ruling you, or you're living in fear, and you know what they're doing, and then you're trying to justify it because you're scared of that. I can see it in your face, Emma. Don't cover for this system.
I don't cover for them. No.
You're still living in terror of an outcome that could, the remoteness of it happening. But like when I said here tonight, when I arrived here tonight, you said about the effects and what could happen and what could something happen and could, because you're still living in fear all this time later. You're still living in fear, not of the bad men, you're living in fear of the system.
Could it let me down?
That's not right.
No, I know, but that's fact.
I know it is. You shouldn't be, and I know you're not trying to play it down, but you're subliminally giving it a pass almost.
No.
Because you're scared of the outcome. That's how it seems.
In my head.
I hope I'm coming across right to you.
Oh, you're right. You're right. But in my head, I always said, and my best pal will tell you this as well, when she's safe, when she's 18, I'm going to go, but it's happened a wee bit earlier. I've always said, right, I'll write a book. Don't even want any money for it. I'll just write a book and say, this happened. But there was no, you've got to remember, years ago, there wasn't people like you and Mandy. If you were there, I didn't know about you. I didn't know. There was no technology that we could all meet up, talk, share experiences. There was no TikTok, there was no this, there was no that.
I've gone so far down the rabbit hole with corruption that I understand how all this is orchestrated. I understand about the social services. I understand about the authoritarian procurement of children into a monetised industry. I know it inside out. I don't need to be employed by it to understand how it's orchestrated. The theft of children by parents in crisis and parents in addiction is astronomical because it's a monetised industry. That's not a child protection industry. That's a business.
With you saying that, I'll just go back a wee bit when all this kicked off and allegations and things. I've never drank, I'd never smoked, I'd never done drugs. I offered them my hair, I offered them to take a bit of my liver, to anything you want. You're not going to find anything because it's just not there. So they couldn't come at me for that. Do you understand? And that's when I had done all these vicious things.
But what you're telling me, right, resonates with me because hundreds of people all over this country have sent me the same information that the social services have made up the most blatant, horrific lies about them in order to remove their children from their care. All these people can't be wrong. They can't all be lying. They can't all be lying.
No.
I go and do my due diligence in these people. Some of these people have been wealthy, well-to-do, successful people, and through one thing and another, marriage breakups and intervention, domestic violence, a husband being put in jail. The social services have gone after those children with a zest that is just unimaginable, almost like it's a game, because it's a monetised industry. That's not a protection service when you monetise it. When profit can be made via fostering and everything else, that's not a protection service. That's a business. When there's a profit at the end of the transaction, it's a business. That's what I'm trying to expose. Your case is one of thousands of cases of absolute manufactured failure, diabolical failure, a complete and utter failure, a dereliction of duty at every single level. It's completely neglectful, the way you've been treated. It's diabolical, there's no other word for it. A vulnerable child snatched off the street, the right man caught, the DNA is there. I'm going to go to something fairly graphic here. A grooming gang leader in England who impregnated a child. That fetus is in a secure location in England, which would have guaranteed his conviction because that fetus was his DNA and it was not used in evidence in the case because they were terrified of the racial backlash. It's all been admitted now. The police failings with Greater Manchester Police and everywhere else has all been admitted. But that was the absolute proof. In this case here, there is absolute proof. There is absolute proof who was responsible, and he's been let go. And all they can say to you is that at that moment in time, Megan was not a credible witness because of her disability.
In my anger.
If my understanding of law is right, when you have DNA, irrefutable proof of DNA, you wouldn't even need Megan as a witness. It's a stonewall black and white conviction. And yet the DNA exists and we know it exists. We know what we're talking about, guys. And it's the one thing that last night we agreed to talk about, but tonight Emma feels differently about it and I need to respect that, which I do. We can't tell yous a massive part of the story, which is it has to be that way, and I completely respect your wishes. And maybe one time down the line, it can be done and you will have your moment.
It's not about me.
I know that. I know it's not about you. And I'm pretty sure people will gather where we're going with this. But we have to be protective. But see what you've done.
What have I done?
See, just speaking about this, massive respect for you. You've done well. You've been phenomenal. And you've never had a voice and you've never had a platform. And now you've got a platform and you've got a voice. Guys, I've seen what I've seen here, and it is, I obviously can't show you it because it's highly sensitive information, but the proof is staring me right in the face on this table, how badly handled this case has been. There's a man out there that was the catalyst for a child's life ending prematurely, and he's walked away scot-free. And nobody knows who he is. Nobody knows who he is other than Police Scotland and the Criminal Records Office. They know who he is. That's not a system fit for purpose. When this live ends, right, I'm going to go into my Spartan inbox and I'm going to show you the volume of messages similar to yours that I get on a daily basis. I'm not going to, you don't need to read them, I'm going to show you what's coming into me. And it's stuff along the same lines as this. It's massive miscarriages of justice, failures in the system, children just being absolutely let down by the authorities, extremely vulnerable children, massive amounts of abuse covered up, denied, ignored, glossed over.
And then taken away from their parents, breaking that relationship and trust, and then thrown out at 18 into a system where they don't know how to live, put in bad areas to either sink or swim. Poverty, no enough money, there for these people to come and prey on them. And that's fact.
Have you ever thought of going down the civil route?
I've not got that kind of money. And how and who it's sealed, it will never be opened.
You see, but
Maybe that, I don't know if that's what's happened to Steph owners as well. They get sealed. You don't, when somebody has passed away, you don't have their permission to open up the file. They're gone. I had to fight for information and had to say to them, her next of kin is her daughter. I'm the guardian.
yeah,
You must begin to tell me things. And that was only when they said to me, no, she didn't cut herself. No, it wasn't violent. Because a few weeks before, she'd thrown herself off a bridge in Motherwell. So, I have no words.
when I looked at that photograph that you showed me, she looks so happy and peaceful and loved and manicured and, you know, healthy. But you can't see beyond the mask. It's just, and to think that she was going through that level of trauma, it's horrific.
But a girl was there.
I know, but it's just, it's so hard to get your head round that that was going on in a young girl's life in Scotland and in the current times that we live in.
But they weren't current because in 2009 there wasn't this platform. There wasn't people who actually believed that the authorities were corrupt. More and more people are coming forward. More and more people are beginning to realise. But back then, you were frowned upon, you were pooh-hooed upon, depending on the generation, depending on the age of the person that you spoke to.
You've been denied subject access requests, haven't you? They've denied you all information. They've literally stonewalled you.
It's not my information.
They're hiding it.
Yeah, but it's sealed. It's not my information. I'm giving you response.
Oh man.
She was her own person. She was an adult. She had capacity.
She had capacity, but I mean,
I know.
Jeez, oh man.
I've fought it. I've fought with nurses and phones. I've done everything. I've even fought for kebabs to be delivered in Scotland the way down here. A wee bit like, what going on about? She hated me, that social worker hated me. It was like every time we seen each other.
This is not the first time I've seen this. Evidence of social workers blatantly lying and writing the most outrageous statements and reports on people just to spite them because they've got off on the wrong foot from the very first meeting. people, don't want a social worker invading their privacy, so they become abrasive in their own home, which they've got a right to do. And the social workers then write the most scalding reports and initiate the process of removing those children. I've seen this tens of dozens of times in Scotland. People have presented me the paperwork. So I know exactly what you're saying. And I'm not lying, it doesn't help me to lie.
But years ago I didn't know that there was other people. Years ago I didn't know all this.
I just cannot get my head around it. I'm really struggling. The police effectively stopped the family pursuing his identity.
They were cautioned.
And literally cautioned them for his safety.
They got cautioned.
For his safety. Bear that in mind, guys. Have a think about that. They offered protection to a man that bundled a child into a car, brutalised her and then dropped her off, and she was found wandering along a motorway home, bedraggled and destroyed. A wee girl. I'm trying to think of something to bring this to a conclusion, and I'm literally speechless at how badly he were treated and how badly Megan was represented by the system, as if she wasn't fit for purpose, as if she wasn't worthy of representation. That's how I feel about it. Is it because she had those wee issues that, who cares about her?
I think we live in different times now, and that I would hope that wouldn't happen. But again, you mentioned what happened with the Rochdale girls and that young girl as well, and I think we've learned. I hope they've learned.
No, they haven't learned. No, because the grooming gangs are still ongoing. There's currently grooming gangs all over UK. They're just getting a lot more cute about it. There's grooming gangs in every big city in England. There's still rape flats. There's still organised mass abuse of young British white girls. It is happening on a massive scale. You see, this is the problem. When people talk about grooming gangs, they think we're talking about Oxford, Rochdale, Huddersfield, Rotherham 20, 30 years ago, the 90s into the 2000s. We're talking about right now. The grooming gangs are still massive. The orchestrated grooming is still massive. It's just done very, very cutely. County lines gangs, all sorts of grooming goes on, and it's all monetised. It's everywhere. It's in every city in England. Every big town's got a problem with it. Even more so now with an open border policy. Not all migrants are bad people, we know that, but there is always going to be a percentage of them that are coming here for the wrong reason. Nobody wants to talk about it. You've got to talk about it. You can't just let anyone enter a country with no criminal checks. If you've committed something here, you can't get into America. That's the way it needs to be. Because if you're a multiple rapist, you shouldn't be allowed to leave your own country. You should have your passport revoked for life. The only way to protect people is to actually implement a protection order that stands up to scrutiny and can't be bypassed by a failure in a system. Now that's me talking about adults. For children it's got to be 10 times more structured. It's got to be bulletproof, it's got to be watertight, and it isn't.
There's nobody held accountable for what they do or fail to do.
But when you've got the irrefutable proof, which is evidentially DNA, you cannot, the verdict cannot be not proven. It can't be. But it was.
Well, there was no further action, there wasn't a not proven.
I mean, that's just admonished, that's like an admonishment.
Yeah, I know.
You know, we're not even going to proceed because there's such a low percentage of a chance of a conviction at trial. We're not even going to waste pen to paper. That's what that is. That's what an NFA is.
I live with it every day.
People ask me regularly, why do I do this? This is why. This is why. People don't have a voice. They don't know where to start. They don't know which doors to chap.
The doors get slammed in your face.
I know that, and it's still an open wound.
It's a minor.
You've had no closure.
She's at peace. Nobody's going to hurt her anymore. Sadly. Well, no, sadly, she's not going to be hurt, but her mind was so full of anxiety, paranoia. Not good enough. She just wanted to be loved, fit in.
And what a beautiful girl, just a beautiful happy face, you know. It's just to think about what was going on behind her eyes and behind that face. It's so hard to comprehend that could be going on in her life.
I showed you the other picture, really.
I know. You can kind of see the fractures there. You can see it. You can see the darkness, you know, getting the better of her. The burden of it, carrying the burden, the trauma. You want to call it? You want to call time? You want to?
David, you know best.
We're going to bring this to an end, guys. I think it's been sore enough. You've done amazing. And I'm very privileged that you contacted me and trusted me enough to come to your home, which is not something I normally do.
I just wanted to...
But when you showed me when you showed me the case, I couldn't neglect it. That's why I'm here. But I don't think we're done. I don't think you and I are done. I think we need to talk more about this, and I think we need to see where we can go with this. I always live on the side of the coin where there's a will, there's a way. And I truly believe where there's a will, there's a way. I don't think enough doors have been chapped. I know what you've been doing, but I still think there's legwork to be done here. But that will be down to you, whether it's been put to bed or, you know, but something's compelled you to reach out to us.
Because I see what's going on around about me. And towns. I keep my granddaughter close like you would not believe. I just want you to tell people, I know it's really hard with devices and things, but if you actually register your device to your own email address, even if it's a different phone number, every call that your child get will come through your phone. You know, it might be intrusive sometimes, but at least you know. And so every picture come through as well. before it even reaches the other phone. So you will have a wee bit of a handle on what's going on, because teenagers, they're just infallible. They think they know it all and they don't get it just because they're teenagers.
They're innocent, they're children, they're kids.
And their front lobes are taking everything in, and they're still developing. And there's not enough people out there to help when they struggle too. Who do they trust? If they're feeling sad, or they're feeling lonely, or feeling vulnerable, and they want to fit in, that's where these men pounce.
Yeah.
And it's the vulnerable, chaotic
You see the
kids.
vulnerability, that's the route to market. The vulnerability, that's the road in.
Teenagers walk out and slam the door. They're round a corner, they look, they watch the girls, or even boys as well now. They, walk home and then they watch. You can tell with what they're wearing, they can tell how they're acting. They might just be walking along the road, kitting out or whatever, catch their attention, and that's when they pounce. You need a friend. When I'll buy you a Coke, when I'll give you this, when I'll give you that. Every opportunity they take. And teenagers walk out in the huff all the time, we know that.
I think it's shocking that nobody knows this story. Nobody in that area knows about this story. An odd person, but it's not like somebody said to me, I can remember something about it, an odd taxi driver. But most people don't know about it. It didn't gain any traction. One of the most barbaric things an adult can do to a child, and it didn't gain any traction. It was literally doused. It was literally kept out of the press.
It was kept out of the press by a way of me being in children's panels, fighting for my children, fighting, no, this never happened.
So they ganged up on you.
So you pick your battle. I had to fight that battle. That's my children. That's why you're saying these things. That this isn't true. If that was true, where's all the medical evidence? You hit somebody with a baseball bat, there's going to be
a mark.
There's going to be bone.
I've seen it time and time again. False statements written by social workers. I don't care if there's a social worker listening and it upsets them. I've seen it with my own eyes.
So
via subject access requests. Families have showed me it. Social workers writing blatant, atrocious lies about families in order to just to spite them and have their children removed into care.
Or to deflect. And in my case it was deflect.
And the amount of social workers that have been caught over the years abusing children is a whole other subject, and that's a whole other day. But that in itself is diabolical. There is a real problem there with this system. And that's my thing. I want to bring the house down on all of them. And if Megan is a piece of the jigsaw on a very big board, then that piece of the jigsaw has to be placed. The puzzle has to be completed. Because if we don't join all the pieces, they're just going to keep failing children, and they're going to keep destroying families, and they're going to leave people completely broken. They're going to put children into even more dangerous predicaments. Children are taken from families and put into care where the abuse starts immediately. I know that because I've spoke to hundreds of people in the past 5, 6, 7 years that have told me about their time in foster care. I don't think I've met a person yet that wasn't abused in the foster system, be it physically or sexually.
Megan wasn't.
There you go.
She was lucky.
There you go. So for all of that to happen to her, she actually had a good experience in the foster system. That's astonishing in itself, considering what else she went through. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Everybody I speak to has got nothing but bad things to say about that system.
She was amazing.
All of the institutions in Scotland, Kerry Law, all of those places, all of those old sadistic heads that ran those institutions were all abusers. Men my age repeatedly contacting me and saying, Alex, you've inspired me to speak out. I was here and there, I was in the 80s, the 90s. It was like Boston almost, you know, the kibble, stuff like that. And Kerry Law's got a horrific reputation, like secure units for the bad boys and the bad girls. List these schools being brutalised in them, being raped in them by, it's diabolical. And they're all getting a pass. The Quarriers abuse scandal, Bridge of Weir, it's all glossed over. They were the Scottish government were trying to pay these people for their silence who are now in their 60s and 70s. So, cases like this are important, and your story's important, and it's massively important that Megan isn't forgotten.
She'll never be.
I know she won't be by you, but she can't be by us either, even though we don't know her. We owe it to her memory to do something about this system that failed massively. So, we could talk all night, but we'll bring it to an end.
Thank you.
No, thank you for being incredibly brave and resilient and still standing your ground and doing an incredible job with that wee girl that I met earlier, who's a beautiful wee girl. She's so polite and pleasant. It's a breath of fresh air meeting a kid like that.
It's like
You've done an amazing job by her.
she can't move. You going? What are you doing? Oh. Thank you.
You've done amazing. Give me your hand. You're shaking like a leaf. You've done brilliant. Right, guys, I'm going to call it an end. We'll have a cup of tea. Will we do that? Right, okay. Thanks for listening. Astonishing story. Astonishing women. And yet another example of what I'm trying to do, which is expose a system that is clearly not fit for purpose by any stretch of the imagination. And that'll be the kettle boiling. So that's my call for tea. She's laughing. Right, guys, thanks for listening, and I hope that he's if you know anybody that's going through anything about this, they do have a voice. We all have a voice. We should never take no for an answer when authorities are just putting the walls up against us and silences and shutting us down. Moving forward, that's not how this is going to work anymore. Okie doke. Night, thank you.